If you're planning a road trip this year, getting your route right can make or break the entire experience. The video you're about to see I filmed just before navigating a big summer cross-country road trip, and after driving thousands of miles on that adventure, I can confirm that the steps work. So buckle up, because in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to plan a road trip route that is realistic, that is flexible, and way more fun to drive. So let's go. So by the end of this video, I promise that you're going to have enough information and hopefully feel excited about kind of chunking out your own road trip, figuring out how many days you're going to be gone, about how many miles you're going to cover, those basic things that then you can start filling in all the really fun parts. And I'm so excited every year to fill in all the fun parts. But I have some work to do on my own road trip first before I can do that. And that's what we're talking about today. So how do you figure it all out? Well, first of all, let's start from the baseline of assuming that you have at least a general idea of how long your road trip is going to be. In other words, you know it's either going to be about 3 days, about a week, about 2 weeks, about a month, something like that. You have a general idea. So that's a really important starting place, because it's a very different conversation if you're gone for a month than if you're gone for a weekend. So step one, figuring that part out, about how long are you going to be gone. So assuming that you have a general idea of approximate time you're going to be gone, then the next step is to just think about what destinations that you have in mind. And I say this because, at least from my perspective and in my now pretty vast experience with road tripping, the most important thing to set me up for success after these other building blocks are done is having a destination of sorts. So for a trip like mine, which is going to be almost 5 weeks long, I definitely have some rest spots in mind. And actually, I build my trip in some ways around these. I knew that I wanted to go west again this summer. That's sort of my go-to and unending exploration of things to see out there. So I try to build a few places into that where I can rest for several days. Some place that I love, might be people that I love there, a place where I can just relax and I'm not driving every day. So that's important to me. And then the next piece of that is to figure out, like, how much time will I spend in each of those places? I am planning on being in Sheridan, Wyoming for 5 days. That's a destination for me. I have a friend there. We've been planning this for a long time, and I will be in Sheridan, Wyoming for 5 days. Another place that I will definitely be spending a little time is in one of my favorite towns of all time, and I feel like it's increasingly becoming a Western home away from home, and that's West Cliff, Colorado. It's just about this big, but I just love it. And the other thing that I know for sure is that my last destination is Breckenridge, Colorado, where I will be spending 5 days with a bunch of my very closest college friends, and we're having a big reunion. So that's a pretty exciting way to end my road trip, although I will have a 25-hour drive home when it's all over. It'll be totally worth it. So when I add up those days, then that claims almost half of my trip. Not quite, but almost. All right, so we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to put this on a map so that you can see what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see on the map now, those are pretty centrally located places in the West. They're very far from home for me, but they are, Colorado, Wyoming. I'm going to spend some time in Montana, I hope, too. Those places, while they're big states and there's a lot going on there, I look at that as sort of my destination area. Now, when I think about Sheridan, West Cliff, and Breckenridge, the next step is to think about, are these dates written in stone? So yes, in some cases, my Sheridan dates and my Breckenridge dates are in stone because that's what works for my friends, and we planned these trips a long time ago. And so I know that those are anchors for me. That leaves me a pretty loose timeline for a lot of what happens in the middle, which is super exciting to me. Here's how I'm looking at it. And know that I'm not just spouting this off the top of my head. I have put some time and thought into this, but the way I was able to do that was by knowing those destinations first. and then backing out away. Like, how do I get to the first one? How do I get home from the last one? How much time is that going to take? And then what do I want to do with all the glorious time in the middle? I'm giving myself 5 days to get to Sheridan, Wyoming. So days 1 through 5 is me traveling. Now, I should tell you, if I was doing it all at once, it's about a 24-hour drive. But I'm not interested in doing that. I want to see things along the way. So once I get to Sheridan, then I'm hunkered down there for days 5 through 9. So that's pretty fun and exciting for me. I know I'll be able to just rest, relax, grocery shop before I take off again, refreeze things that maybe aren't frozen anymore, maybe get a clean dog at some point along the way, and a clean me, which is a really good thing. You really do need to have some down days baked into your itinerary, especially in a longer one. So someplace where you can spend 2 nights in a row or 3 nights in a row where you're not driving every single day. From there, then, I've got days 9 to day 21. That's 2 full weeks of just doing what I want to do. And then I have to say that the end of a very long road trip is the least fun part, except I always am very excited to get home at that point. But that long drive from Breckenridge back home, like I said, it's about 25 hours, and I will do it over the span of 2 days. So I'm not one to drive 25 hours straight, but I will do 12 and 12 or 12 and 13 and get myself home that way. Okay, so we have some of the basics figured out now. I've shared my destinations. I've shared my approximate timeline with you all. So the next thing that really needs to get organized is, what am I going to do with those first 5 days going to Sheridan, Wyoming? I don't want to be on the highways all the time, and I definitely don't want to just be dreading counting hours down. I want to see things and explore and find the wonder around the bend. And you know what? There's not a lot of bends on a highway. So this next bit, I'm going to share with you basically what I have decided to do, or at least tentatively decided to do. And I'll put it on the map for you, and that way we can look at it together. Okay, I'm psyched to say that I have figured it out, at least tentatively. So I'm committed to driving a lot the first day. So I'm going to drive about 7.5 hours to get to the northeast corner of Indiana. Then I decided to just do the math to figure out, how far it is from here to here, and what are my different options. I chose a northern option because I really enjoy North Dakota, northern Minnesota, and Wisconsin. I'm adding a few hours onto my trip, but to me, that's totally worth it. So once I have a pretty good big picture idea on my now US map, which I absolutely love, the thing that I do next is to start whittling down into state maps. So we're going to use the North Dakota state map as an example for this one. You can see it spread out here as well. I love the Rand McNally maps. I have one for almost every single state. They are, as they claim, they are easy to read. I think they're honestly pretty easy to fold too, and I love carrying them around with me. Any state that I'm going to, I just take the whole bunch with me every year. So this one is North Dakota and South Dakota. So I spread it all out and then start looking at more detail. So as you can see here, I have a starting point and an ending point. I decided on Grand Forks, which is in the eastern part of the state, is someplace that I wanted to check out. I've done some research on it and it looks pretty fantastic. So I was very excited to check it out. And I know I'm recording this after the fact, so I can tell you 2 thumbs up to Grand Forks. I absolutely love that town. From there, I was heading west, and I was going to end up at Lewis and Clark State Park, which is a favorite. I've stayed there a few times now, and I really do love it. North Dakota has surprised me in the past, so I had wanted to return and explore more, and I do. I just really love it. I just never thought I would say that, but I love North Dakota. So my process of planning my road trip route is to get out the state map, get a better feel for the roads, and for me that means trying to avoid highways as much as possible. So I look for places of interest on the map, but then I also engage a bit in some online research as well. So in my book, There's Wonder Around the Bend, I go into a lot more detail about lots of ways that you can do this, all the planning and the research. So I do hope you find that resource helpful for you. But for now, here are a few other in-hand resources that I love. So I'm a book girl, as you all probably know by now, and I've gotten a lot of mileage, no pun intended, out of these two particular books. They're both beautiful books. This one especially is beautiful. It's broken up by states, and it's some scenic drives around the U.S. Both of these books cover that same concept. I love this. It's very similar to the other one, except it's much smaller. It has similar layout inside. It's organized by area of the country and then by state. And I love that it has a lot of different drives than the other Reader's Digest book does. I've used both extensively, and they're just a great jumping off place and helps you figure out some of those really cool roads. So cheers to National Geographic and Reader's Digest. So I will use Google Maps to figure out a good bit of the rest of my trip, but I'm not ready yet. Once I'm out at my first destination, and then when I have 2 weeks to wander, then I can figure that out a little bit later. And for me, I don't really enjoy having a super tight schedule. At that point, I'm going to want to be able to just do what I want to do when I want to do it, but that's what I'm comfortable with. So make sure you check out the next video so that you can get the Google Maps tutorial, and we're going to map out what we have figured out so far. And please hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss any of it, and that's the best way to stay informed. So that video was filmed right before that big summer road trip, and it still holds up. Those are exactly the steps I use every time I plan a new road trip route. So I hope it helps you map out an amazing road trip adventure that is just for you. If you're serious about planning your own road trip, please download my Going Solo Quick Start Guide. Honestly, it is the best way for you to get started. It is in-depth, but very user-friendly, and it really does a lot of the hand-holding of just helping you get started. So it's totally free. You will find the link for that in the description below, along with all the other fun things we've talked about today. And I don't want you to miss this next video. It's my best road trip packing list. I think that will help you very much with your next step. And you can check out that video right here. So start navigating and then start packing, and I hope to see you on the road.